don't know what picture we need to use.
Hello, and thank you for tuning in to the Stuff I Heard podcast. I'm your host, Joshua Peak, and I happen to have my lovely wife, Dolores, here with me today. Hey, baby doll.
Hey, lovely wife, Dolores.
So we have missed an episode, much to circumstances. Um, we went on vacation on YouTube. I've posted, well, no, I haven't posted. We need to post some video.
Not to mention the
Um,
fact that it wasn't really vacation.
it
It was a weekend.
was a weekend. It was a busy
It was
weekend.
a busy weekend.
So we had plans. Let me first set this up. We had plans. Is this the Stuff I Heard podcast? So this is, you can tell people you heard about this. We had plans because we'd heard that there was a drone show that was going on above Disney Springs Lake. Now down in Disney Springs, that's the outdoor shopping area that's located. I don't know, not too far from Typhoon Lagoon. It's within a short little ride from any of the resorts that takes you there. But it's a nice little outdoor shopping area that's got lots of like Disney themed stores as well as some other stores. It's just pretty neat. We like to go there for the World of Disney store, which is pretty cool because you can get almost any kind of merchandise you could think of there that's Disney related. But also we like to go to just look in all the other stores, and there's always a good place to eat.
Yeah, they've got great restaurants.
Yeah. So we plan this weekend to go see this drone show that's supposed to be over this lake because it's all kind of stationed around this lake. There's a House of Blues there, and there's a Cirque du Soleil thing there, and there's all kinds of stuff there. And we'd heard it was near the House of Blues, so we were like, okay, we kind of know where that is. It's on the far left side of the place, and okay, let's see what we can do about going. And I think it all started with us just looking at what it would take to possibly fly
Well, the reason what we don't normally go to Disney during the summer months
because it's hot
because it's hot and because that's when kids are out of school.
and it's busy.
Very busy. Um, it's very busy. Yes, the heat makes it a lot more difficult, a lot more draining.
Yeah.
But years ago, now that we don't have to go around school schedules, you and I have, when we do go to Disney, we go at what is actually considered, I guess, off season. I had heard on a podcast, multiple podcasts about the drone show. They had tried a drone show, I think, a couple years ago. Didn't really go that well. Drone shows are something that has to be done where they don't fly over any
People.
crowds. Yeah, for obvious reasons. You never
Yeah.
know when something could happen. So Disney Springs, I guess, was their best area for what do you call it? Real estate, to be able to do that without having to fly over a crowd. I'd heard that it started on, I want to say maybe Memorial Day weekend and was only running through Labor Day weekend. I think Labor Day is the actual last day of the show. It's 800 drones sponsored by AT&T. And what I've heard on podcasts is two guys actually programmed this whole show. I'd seen little bits and pieces on TikTok, really wanted to see it, but actually did not want to plan a trip, a full week trip. When we usually go to Disney, we do at least a week. Didn't want to plan a whole week around a summer vacation at Disney because it is so hot. So you and I started looking at the possibility of flying down just for the drone show.
Yeah.
Found some great cheap. Well, I mean, it wasn't super cheap, but we found an hour and a half, hour and 20-minute flight from Myrtle Beach to Orlando on Spirit Airline. We didn't check a bag. We were in, that's the day that I think all the computers crashed. It
So
was
let's,
last Friday.
yeah, but I mean, let's kind of set this up as far as the trip. We had a plan. It wasn't it was going to be a busy time of the season, but we thought, extended weekend. Let's just go Friday,
We took
Saturday,
one day,
Sunday,
right? We just took one day off.
and fly out of Myrtle Beach, which isn't far from here. And like you said, the rates were decent. We were looking at it, and I had personally never flown to Disney. We've always drove, and it's very it's exhausting.
Well, actually, it's not.
It is for me.
It is not. We don't normally drive straight down there. We
I
normally
know.
spend the night at my parents',
I know.
which is a 4-hour drive, and then it's because it's seven. It's like 7 hours from one of the resorts straight back home. We don't do that going down. We always stop at my parents' house and spend the night because it gives us the opportunity, number one, to break the trip into two parts. It gives us a chance to visit with them, gives us a free place to stay. Coming back, now we do make the trip straight home.
Mm.
But we always come home. If we're down there for a week, we always come home on a Saturday so that we have the rest of Saturday and all day Sunday. We also leave there very early. We're
Yep.
usually on the road no later than 5 a.m. coming home.
But that's usually after you want to see the fireworks one last time.
Yes.
So we're on very limited sleep on the way home as well.
But this was the first time we had flown. Number one, I don't want to put that expense on top of the trip
Yeah.
when it's only a 7 hour. But for a weekend, we did not want to drive for 7 hours and limit ourselves to only maybe one night of catching the drone show because if it rained.
Right.
So we wanted to give ourselves 2 nights, and it's an hour and a half flight down there. And that was definitely better than 14 hours of
Yeah.
7 there, 7 back. That's why we opted to look at flying.
And we had lots of different things going on with our flight situation. We had never not checked a bag flying because usually whenever we're flying, we're staying for a while. And this time we were able to pack things in a very small bag and a backpack that is, carryable. Spirit allows you to have one small bag that can fit technically under your seat, is how they claim it. But it could be a small bag that fits over your overhead as well. Just one small bag. So we packed in a small bag and a backpack, and she carried the bag, and I had the backpack. And as we went up to the front gate, there was a huge line of people, maybe over 100 people
Oh
in
my
line.
gosh, there had to have been more than that when we walked into the Myrtle Beach
And
airport.
we were like, wait a second. We were already pre-TSA, and we don't need to check a bag. Do we just walk past all these people over here to the right? And that was the answer.
Yeah,
We
we
went
had
over to the right
actually,
and
we checked in Thursday morning online.
yeah,
So we had already checked in. They had already give us our seat assignments. We did not pay for seat assignments on Spirit because we were trying to fly as cheap as possible.
sure.
We did not care hour and hour and 20 minutes. If they didn't seat us together, it was not going to be a big issue. It was
We
not
both had headphones. We're going to put our headphones on and just listen to
right.
music or
Right.
whatever and kind of chill.
We were scheduled to leave Myrtle Beach, I want to say at 7:50 in the morning or 8:50.
Yeah.
It had to have been 8:50 because we were supposed to land in Orlando at 10 a.m. originally. Now, we did not know because we went to bed the night before, Thursday evening. We had some things happen here at the house. We'll get into that in a little bit, but we did not look at social media or the news or anything on our way to the airport Friday morning.
We didn't know it, but there was a cyber attack.
Right. So when we walked into the Myrtle Beach airport, we had more than enough time for our flights, and we were greeted with I would say, well, more than 100. There were hundreds of people standing in line at Spirit to check in, and I'm sure the look on my face must have been sheer panic because we had allowed ourselves 2 hours prior to check in, and there was no way people were getting through that line.
Yep.
So I frantically made some phone calls to some friends that fly all the time, and they were like, "No, you're not checking a bag. You've already pre-checked in, and your pre-TSA just go through pre-check line." And it was piece of cake, went straight to the gate. And then, of course, as we sit down and we open our phones because we have a few minutes before the flight is supposed to originally take off, we realize what is going on and why everybody in this airport is just like panicking.
Yeah, and I'd gotten a text from my mom saying, "Are you guys grounded?" And I was like, "I'm a grown up. What do you mean grounded?" So I called her. I was like, "What are you talking about?" She was like, "There's a big thing on the news. Like all these planes are being grounded because they can't fly because there's a cyber attack." I was like, "What?" I was like, "I'm at the airport. Everything seems fine." And then all of a sudden we heard over the intercom that it wasn't fine.
Yeah.
And we started hearing that they were canceling flights right and left. And we were like, "Oh no, please don't cancel our flight." I mean,
And we were one of the lucky ones. We did not get canceled. We did get pushed back. We were originally supposed to land in Orlando at 10 a.m. We thankfully landed at 11 a.m.
yeah.
Now, boarding was a little different.
Yeah.
They were using a paper chart of the airplane with the seats, just like it looks online when you're picking your seat. And when you walked up to the gate with either your digital boarding pass or your paper boarding pass, they were actually marking check marks on the seat when people were checking in. Well, come our turn, we get up there, and when I checked us in online Thursday, it gave us 2 seats side by side. No big deal. Great. Get to sit together. So we go to check in, and they were super nice. Now, I will have to say, considering what they were dealing with we did not come in contact with one rude person that worked for Spirit. The whole experience with what they were dealing with was great.
They were very
They were
apologetic.
very apologetic, and and it was not their fault.
And when they got to our name, they said, "Oh, someone's already in your seat.
You've been double booked, and we've just
We actually double booked that one." And I was like, "What?" He goes, "Don't worry, we're going to get you on the plane. There's plenty of seats." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So we went and kind of sat to the side. At that moment, I kind of went through a little panic. I was like, "What?"
yes, because there was probably 15 or more of us that got
Yeah,
pushed over to the side
yeah,
with the comment of, "I'm sorry, but your seat's been double booked." What happened was the people that checked in online the day before were assigned seats. And then when the computer went down, apparently, when all that happened, and people were checking in up front that were checking bags, they were allowed to reassign seats. And
yeah.
so that's how some seats got double booked.
And we actually ended up with better
We
seats
actually ended up with better
because
seats. And
they gave us the seats that you normally have to pay for, the exit row with all the extra leg space. I
yes.
think you even were able to like stretch
Oh
way
yeah,
out
there was
and
nobody in the middle. Well, actually, we were supposed to be in the middle and the aisle seat, and there
yeah,
was nobody next to the window.
yeah.
So yes, I mean, and the flight attendants that were on our flight, there were several of us that were up in that area that got seated last because our seats did get double booked, and they were letting people move around, and they even suggested to the gentleman that was sitting beside us to start off with. They were like, "Hey, there's seats over here. Why don't you move?" And which gave you and I 3 seats.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that part was fantastic. But man, do you remember landing in Orlando? What it was like when we got
Oh
off?
yeah, because when we landed in Orlando, the people that were there getting ready to depart were dealing with the same kind of issues. So there was a huge amount of panic on their
Oh
faces
my
too,
gosh, it
because
was
they were like,
unreal.
"What's going to happen? Our plane's late. But are we going to make our flight?" You know, you could see the panic in people's eyes, and it was like, "Oh, we need to get out of here like as efficiently as possible." And it was tough to get out of there because there was quite a few people blocking our way and sort of
Yes.
trying to make their way to the counters to find out
Hmm.
information. And
Well, Myrtle Beach is a smaller airport. They are building onto it again, and it's a very nice airport to be as close to us as it is. But now walking into
Orlando,
Orlando was like walking into pandemonium. I mean,
yeah,
there was a lot of people standing
to
around.
me, Orlando's terminal was no bigger than Myrtle
Yeah,
Beach's.
but we were only on the Spirit
I
terminal.
know, but still, you would think they would be better laid out than what they were. There was a terrible layout for the Orlando airport.
They actually Delta, and I mean they get a lot of flights in there.
I know.
You hear the airport. They have a what when it was it on the little tram that we were on where you have to go.
Yeah,
Although it's like baggage claim, we didn't have to claim baggage, but baggage claim is always really close to ground transportation.
yeah.
That's where we needed to go to catch lift to
Hmm.
get to our hotel. But on the actual little tram that we rode from our terminal over to baggage claim ground transportation, it said that they have 4 million visitors a year that
Right.
fly through that airport.
And to me, that the layout of that terminal for Spirit was terrible. Not only that, but that was the dirtiest restroom I've ever been in.
Well, yeah,
Even military restrooms I've been in was better. This was terrible.
that's when we flew back out Sunday
Yeah.
morning. But yeah, I mean, it was, I was glad to get out of that airport.
Yeah.
And I was very thankful that we only had an hour delay.
And I did some research on our transportation because I was looking to how we could get to the hotel. Looking at different sites. I had called the hotel actually and asked them, I said, "What's the most efficient way for us to get to the hotel? Do y'all have like a bus, or is there a certain thing I should use?" And they said, "Well, you know, a lot of people like using the ride share like Lyft and Uber." And they said, "For down here, we've heard a lot of people say that Lyft is a little bit cheaper." And I checked it when I was there, and it was about $10 cheaper to use Lyft than it was Uber, which is why we used Lyft. And it was super nice. I mean, we got picked up on time. It was very efficient, very nice, and got us to the place very safe. And our trip back on Lyft was really great. So I mean,
Yes.
plus that was my first time in a Tesla.
Now that was going
That was
back.
pretty. I know I'm saying
Yeah,
that
that
was
was
pretty
going
cool.
back. But we got there,
Got to the hotel.
got to the hotel. The hotel was nice.
We
People
stayed
were
at a
nice.
Wyndham.
We stayed at a Wyndham. We actually, when we were booking, we wanted to stay as close as possible to Disney Springs so that we could walk.
Hmm.
And I think this hotel was listed as like, I don't know, 3/10 of a mile. I don't even think it was 3/10 of a
It
mile.
well, it says on the website the walking distance is like 0.6 mile.
And it's not that far.
Yeah, it is.
But they
Yeah, it
had the
is.
walkway over the road. It was an easy walk. which is good because when we got there, of course, they were not ready for us to check in.
And I was kind of a silly head. She said, "Should we pack tennis shoes and flip flops?" I was like, "I'm just wearing flip flops."
Yeah.
And that was a mistake. I got some newer flip flops, and I hadn't fully broke them in yet. And we got them broke in that weekend for sure.
Well,
We did a lot of walking.
I don't know why you thought we would be going anywhere that had the word Disney in it, and there wasn't going to be like, 20,000 steps involved in
Well,
it.
I thought we were gonna like take our time and
We did.
relax, and yeah, but I was trying to keep up with you, man. You were in a hurry.
Yeah, not necessarily.
You were on a mission to see stuff.
We actually got checked in and we were told our room's not ready. And granted, check in is not till 4 p.m., but most of the time the room is usually ready.
Well, I wonder if it was something to do with that cyber attack
Could have
thing.
been.
Maybe they were just like, we absolutely can't let you until 4.
Yeah.
But they were really sticklers about not till 4.
Well, you
And
can
I was
only
like,
imagine that if a lot of people were, if people were checking out that Friday morning, their
yeah,
flights more than likely got pushed back. So they asked for a later checkout.
yeah.
And it is what it is. I mean, it says plain as day on their website that check-in is 4 p.m. And they said when we checked in, your room is not ready. We will let you know when it's ready. So the
And they
bellhop,
held our bags.
yes, the bellhop took our
So
bags. We actually just said, okay, we came here to go to Disney Springs.
we're
So
gonna walk over.
let's walk over. And that's what we did. We
Yep.
walked over there. We grabbed some lunch.
Earl sandwich.
Yep.
Always a home run for us.
We split a lunch.
We split the Thanksgiving feast sandwich,
That
which is turkey and dressing and cranberry sauce, and
and
it's
gravy.
delicious.
It is very good.
And I listen, if anybody ever like doubts going to a place and eating a sandwich, you gotta try Earl of Sandwich at least once. They're all over the place, but they're worth it.
I wouldn't say all over the place. There's not that many locations.
DC, Vegas. I mean,
They're in much larger
you
cities.
can find them in bigger
They're,
cities.
it's a really, really good sandwich. It's totally different than anything you'll ever get because
Yeah.
their bread is like a biscuit.
They call it a biscuit, but it's some kind of homemade bread. It's just
Yeah.
crispy on the outside and
It's very good.
very delicious.
So we knew that we could not do, although we shopped a lot, we browsed. Let me rephrase that. We knew that shopping and buying items was not possible because we did not want to check any luggage.
Right.
So we were very limited and we didn't buy a whole lot. I don't think we bought but maybe one or two little things and no problem at all. But we did do a lot of, we spent a lot of time just actually looking around, just taking our time and looking around in and out the stores. Normally when we go to Disney Springs, we always go to Disney Springs when we go for a week to Disney, but we're usually kind of like in there and out of there.
Yeah,
quickly.
it's like one of the things we had to do that day usually, and this was more of a, hey, you're here for 2 days.
I would have
Check
to
it
say
out.
we checked out every last single inch of
Yeah.
of Disney Springs. So we spent the afternoon, like I said, with our lunch. We did just in and out of shops, just browsing around. It was warm. It was definitely hot. I don't mind the heat when I'm dressed for the heat.
hmm
I don't want to be dressed in long sleeves or long pants and in that kind of weather. When I'm dressed in shorts and a sports bra and a tank top, it doesn't bother me. And
Yeah.
I mean, it was definitely warm, but we were both dressed for the weather.
Well, the first day I was wearing a nice polo shirt, and I definitely had a ton of sweat on me because that shirt is not really meant for doing a lot of activities in, and I sweated a good bit in that one. Well, we did bring some extra clothes so that I was able to take a shower and get changed and all
Yep.
that stuff.
And then we went back to, we knew that the drone show is it's every night at 2 times. It's at 9 p.m. and 10:45 p.m. So we knew that there was no way we could stay at Disney Springs until that late at night. And we walked back over to our hotel. We only had to wait, what, maybe about 30 minutes in the air conditioned lobby before our room was ready.
Mhm.
But in the meantime, we were also dealing with the fact that before we left on Thursday night, Thursday evening, we were here at the house. We had not packed anything. So Thursday evening was a come home, fix dinner, and we were going to get our crap together so that we could leave early the next morning. And a storm came up, which is very, it's normal for this time of the year. And we had eaten dinner, and Josh had gotten up. You had gotten up from the table. I was still sitting there, and I think we were just chit chatting back and forth. You might have been like in the kitchen still, or even in the living room. It was thundering, lightning, pouring down rain, and all of a sudden, there was like the most amazing bright flash of light where I was sitting right at the dining room table where there's two big windows. And the minute the light flashed, the sound came. And I even verbally said out loud, "Oh my gosh, that was close." And you were like, "Yes, it was." Well, lights never went off, never, nothing. So we went on about our business. I was busy packing. I don't know, maybe what, a couple of hours later?
Yeah,
Yeah.
about an hour or so later.
And we usually keep our air on 73 during the day. And when we walk in the evenings during this time of the year, it is comfortable. We do chill it down a little more before by bedtime. But I knew that the house was on 73 when we walked in, and everything felt fine. So, like an hour and a half into this, I walk out of the bedroom, or no, I look on our app. We control our thermostat on it by an app. We can on our phones. And I looked at it and it said 75 degrees and the temperature was set on 72. So I walked my little happy self right into the living room and I'm like, "Hey, did you turn the air down?" And you said, "Yeah, I bumped it down 1 degree because it feels like it's a little bit warmer in here." And your comment was, "It gets a little warmer during the day." And I was like, "Okay, but the house was 73 when we walked in." So I was like, "Okay, no big deal. I'm packing. I'm busy. Maybe I'm just working up a sweat here."
Yeah.
So went on about, yeah, just okay. I just turned around and bebopped off. Another hour later, I'm like, "Man," to myself, "it is warm in here." I
Because
am
that's what
like,
you call yourself.
yeah, I'm like working up a sweat. And I look at my phone to the temperature, and it is 76 degrees in the house.
Yeah.
And that's when I walked myself into the living room and I was like, "Okay, there is something wrong with this air."
Yep.
Yes.
So
So
we had some damage.
you called our heating and air guy, and thankfully he answered the phone. He's a great Trent Edwards owns Elite Heating and Air, and he is a fantastic guy.
Yeah.
We had just bought a new unit May 2 years ago. This past May, we bought a brand new unit after 15 years. He was great to work with, and he answered the phone and he walked you through, hey, maybe the compressor was on when you had that. I
Yeah,
don't,
this is like around 7, a little bit after 7, and I could hear his kids in the
yeah,
background, like he'd picked up his kids and they had apparently had dinner and they were getting back in the car and he was kind of talking me through it. And he said, sometimes you just got to turn it off and like let it reset itself because
because yeah, like the
it has like
compressor is
a,
on when
it
that
has a, yeah,
happens.
it has like a little cycle it's supposed to recycle. And sometimes the power flickering like that could cause it to just get hung up. And he said, just turn it off for about an hour and then wait and turn it back on and it should work. If it doesn't, give me a call back. And I was like, okay.
And he said, "Give me a call
So
back. I will answer."
yeah, so like an hour later, we tried it and it was a no go.
Yeah, we knew within what, 20 minutes.
We were getting air circulated through the house, but it wasn't cold air. And we're like, oh, so we called him and he was like, okay, well, I'll come out and look at it tomorrow. And we're like, well, here's the fun part. We're supposed to get to plane in the morning. We're actually heading out of town. I can have somebody meet you here. And at the time, I didn't know if we did or not. I was just taking a chance. I was like, we can have somebody meet you here and get you in the house, have you look at stuff if that's okay. And he was like, that'd be fine. So immediately we started calling around, calling friends and family. And luckily we have good friends and family that were available. And my stepdad was available. He's retired and he was like, I got nothing going on. I can do that. So he met him here and was able to diagnose what was going on. And
Which we got that phone call while
we
we were
got that
sitting in the
going on.
lobby waiting that for our room to be ready.
Yep.
Now this was, mind you, after we'd been up we got up super early, drove over to the
We got
airport.
up at like what, 4:30?
Yeah, it got delayed by an hour, got to the, it,
We're sweaty now.
we're sweaty now.
We know it's going to be expensive for an air
Yes.
conditioner. We're like, oh, this is gonna hurt.
And then the call comes and he says that the compressor and the capacitor is fried.
Which we'd replaced a compressor before. We knew that was expensive. A capacitor is only like less than $20, but a compressor is
The
usually
main part of,
thousands of
yeah, the
dollars.
main part of the air conditioner.
Yeah.
And we had just spent
I
fifty
was
five
like,
hundred
oh
dollars 2 years
man.
ago. Yeah.
I had other plans for that money.
Yeah, needless to say,
I'm
that
looking at
was
my dreams of a Jeep getting further and further away with everything that goes wrong.
so, that was a lovely call to have to deal with while you're sitting in the lobby waiting for your room
Yep.
in a chair that I'm almost certain that both the chairs we were sitting in, somebody had sit in them after they had gotten out of the pool.
Well, they were also meant for children. They were
Yeah.
they
Well,
were
they
uh
worked just fine for me.
they
Thank
were
you.
under my knee height. I was like, well, I got to really get down in here.
So, yeah, that was not a good phone call, but, like I
But
say, Trent,
he was able to order the parts that we needed. He said, I think some of these are under warranty. Let me check. And sure enough, they were, which was great. And while we were gone, he was able to have the parts ordered. My stepdad Dan was available because he had some other stuff that was going on, but he got it taken care of. And he's like, I'm actually available to meet him when he wants to do the repair, so I can make sure to get him in the house if he needs to. And I was like, super.
well, that was scheduled for Tuesday. And I
Yep.
did ask that Friday when we were sitting down in Orlando, and he said, it was later in the day. I want to say it was after 2 o'clock.
Oh, and I forgot to mention the fact that we had a window unit that was in our attic that we bought years ago when something like this
Right.
happened. And our good friend Phil was in town
Yeah,
because
but that's when we come back.
he oh yeah, well we ain't gotten there I guess,
Eh,
but
But
yeah,
anyway, so I had asked. He said, I'm sorry, but the parts are not going to be here Monday.
yeah,
It's late in the afternoon on Friday. So he said it'll be Tuesday. And I was like, that we understand. We have a window unit.
Saturday. He found out Saturday afternoon. Remember?
Friday while when we flew in.
That's right.
Yeah.
I got my days confused.
So we were like, we understand. We actually have a window unit that we had bought whenever the air conditioner went out a couple years ago. We'll be fine in our bedroom. Tuesday, I said, can we please get on the schedule for Tuesday? And he said, if the parts come in, we'll get you back up and running Tuesday. So, like I say, we just, had that in the back of our mind the whole weekend. But Friday evening, we were able to walk back we got checked in. The room was fine. The pool was fine. We did not pay an outrageous price for this room. So it was not like a super 5-star hotel or anything like that, but it was nice. The people were nice. Pool was nice. Spent a little bit of time in the pool that evening. And then we went back over to Disney Springs, grabbed some dinner. And the main reason we flew down there was for the drone show, which started at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, so as we were looking around, we had kind of talked about, she asked me, she said, where do you want to eat? And I said, I really would like to eat at Polite Pig again because we had eat there before and I really liked it. She was like, okay, we can do that. So we made our way to Polite Pig. We had dinner. And as we were finishing up, we were looking at our clock and
Yeah,
it was
no.
getting closer and closer to
I was
time.
like, we need to go now. And you were like, no, I'm going to eat.
Yeah,
So
we were like next in line. And when you mentioned that, and I was like, I'm not getting out of line now.
anyway, we split a meal there and quickly ate it.
Yeah.
And then we made our way very hastily through the crowd to
Good
get
word,
to
hastily.
the viewing area for the drone show. Now,
Yeah.
keep in mind, I'm 4'11".
And that's
So,
a few thousand people that were also trying to do the
yes.
same thing.
So, did we see the drone show at 9 o'clock? Yes, we did.
Mm-hmm.
There was tree branches and phones all over the place that I could not see over. I did get to see the gist of it, but I also knew another show at 10:45. No rain's expected. So I'm going to get a better seat for the second show.
Yeah.
So
We were patient. We waited for everybody to get out of the way.
we waited for everybody to get out of the
And then
way.
we asked questions.
I walked my happy self right up to a cast member and said, where is the best place to view the second show? And this lady, very nice lady, pointed out, if you go over there to that rope right there, she said, that's where you wait. And at 10 o'clock, you will be one of the first ones to get down to the viewing area. So keeping in mind that I'm a short person, I went and to the very end of that rope and stood there. And this was what, maybe, I don't know, 9:15, 9:20.
9:05.
No, the drone show lasts longer than that.
It was a while.
No, anyway, we have
The drone show's 8 minutes.
But then you had to let the crowd clear out. 9:30.
Okay, we'll say 9:15.
9:30. I sat down on the sidewalk and you're standing there looking at me as if to say, really? And I was like, yes, I am sitting my ass right here
This is a family podcast.
until
I'm gonna have
10
to. I'm gonna have to censor you.
until 10:45. I am not moving. And I sat right there. So did you. You sat down. I was like, if you got something you need to do, you need to go shopping, you need to go get something to eat, you go right ahead. I'll be right here when you get back.
No, you were trying to convince me to go get you donuts.
That didn't work.
You really should go get us donuts. I'll sit right here where you go get them. And I was like, no, I'm not going to get
Anyway,
donuts.
anyway, at 10 o'clock, they opened up the they dropped the rope, and we got right up. We got the best
Yeah,
view ever. The
right,
best
right where we
view.
needed to be.
Nobody standing in front of me.
Perfect line of sight. Got next to one of the speakers where we could hear the
It was,
music, and
and it was great.
yeah,
It was
it was
fantastic.
beautiful.
The show is only what 8.5 minutes long, but it is incredible to see if you've never. Well, I mean, I had never seen a drone show before.
Mm-hmm.
It was awesome. It
Yep.
really was. It was worth the trip down there. And the first night we were able to see exactly what we flew down there for.
Yep. Yeah. So a couple of things as we were filming. I noticed that both of us had tried to film the first one, but the trees were in the way, and
I didn't try
we
to
didn't
film at
catch
all
all
that
of
one.
it. And I was like, eh. So the second one, as we got up there, I thought, okay, we're both going to film this. This is going to be silly. Why don't I Facebook Live it? So I looked over. You were filming like like a YouTuber. I was like, look at her. I'm so proud. And I thought, I'll Facebook Live it because I talked to so many people that were like, I want to see it. I want to see it. I want to see it. And I thought, this is going to be the easiest way to show people. And no, it's not that long because we watched the first one, but it's be cool. So I Facebook Live the whole thing, and it was pretty cool to kind of see that and share that with everybody. But yeah, we got done with the show, and because we had kind of split meals during the day, we weren't like super full. Walking out, we saw a churro cart. We were able to get a churro, and then going by Gideon's, the line was they were closing, but there was people like running up and going, "Can we get in?" And it was like a doorman. He was like, "All right, there's a room. Go ahead, go ahead." And we thought, "Holy crap, can we actually get in?" Because usually
Yeah.
there's a line that's so long.
Oh yeah, there was it. People were waiting in the sun
for
for
hours.
hours to get in Gideon's,
Yeah.
and I was like, I've had Gideon's before. It's great, but I'm not waiting in that line. And
Yep.
it just worked out where 5 minutes till 11, we happened to just walk up and walked right straight in, and that was I was so thrilled we got to do that.
For people who don't know, Gideon's are like half-pound cookies. They're huge cookies,
And I brought some back
and we brought them back
for people,
for people.
for people's, for my
Yeah.
work people's, and for our family.
Yeah, we're like, man, this bag is extra heavy. Oh, the cookies. That's
Yeah.
right. We got the
Yeah, we
cookies.
did have 2 pounds of cookies in the bag. Yeah, 4 cookies, 2 pounds.
They only let you buy 6, by the way. So there's that.
Yeah, if you don't pre-order, I think, or
Yeah.
something like that. But anyway, check out Gideon's. It's
Yeah.
called Gideon's Bake House.
Yeah.
And they have 2 locations. It is not a chain. There's only 2 locations. One is in like the Orlando proper, and then they have one at Disney Springs in Orlando, or
Yep.
the Lake Buena Vista area.
They're pretty fantastic,
Yeah.
though.
So then we had Saturday that
Saturday was wide
we had no plans Saturday.
You were like, what do you want to do Saturday? And I was like, sleep in. She's like, done.
Yep, we did that. We actually, while we were waiting for the drone show, we
Oh, you asked me, you said, what would you like to do? And I said, can we eat a brunch somewhere?
and we didn't. We
And you were
actually,
like where? And I was like, I don't know, maybe Boathouse. And you're
and
like, I don't know. Do they have brunch? I was like, I don't know. Let's look online. Sure enough, they had brunch, and they had
and we were able to snag a 10 o'clock reservation.
Yep.
And Disney Springs opens at 10 a.m. And of course, at that point, we were standing there waiting for the second drone show. We thought, okay, we'll go to Gideon's Saturday morning because the lines are so long. We'll get there first thing. And then, of course, we knocked that out Friday night. But we were able to have a great brunch. We had it scheduled for 11 a.m. So we were in no rush to get up. We were able to sleep in a little bit, walked straight over and straight in. Actually, that's when we went by the Lego store.
Yeah. On the way there, the Lego store had no line. And we just walked up and was like, hey, can we go in?
I am totally amazed that people wait outside in the sun for hours to get in the Lego store there.
The store should be bigger.
Yeah, most definitely.
But yeah, so saw lots of cool things to take pictures of and be like, "Ooh, that's neat. Ooh, that's neat. Okay, let's get out of here."
Yeah, we couldn't buy.
And then we went to Boathouse, and the Boathouse was cool because right next to the Boathouse, they have a launch area for the amphibious cars. They do this tour thing that you can book, and they take you out in these amphibious cars onto the lake and drive you around the lake in this thing, and then drive back up the little
We have
ramp.
got some video of that.
And my wife was able to jump right over there and film them entering and exiting the water, which was pretty neat to watch.
Yeah, we had a great meal there.
Good meal. Yep. Got to listen to some music next door to us.
Yeah,
And
it was live music next door.
and then we just kind of spent the day piddling, looking around, and I think we went to Salt and Straw and had a little
No, that was
snack. And
Friday afternoon. I'm trying to think what all we did. Oh, Saturday is when we went back to the room for a little bit
we took a nap.
and we chilled for a little bit. And then that's when we walked back over to Disney Springs. We got on a bus going to the Polynesian resort.
Oh, let's talk about that,
Yeah.
because
I want to get into Trader Sam's.
we wanted to go to Trader Sam's. Trader Sam's is in the Polynesian Resort, and it's one of those things where you have to be standing there at 3 o'clock to get your name on the list to get
Or
in,
earlier.
because this room only holds like 50
50
people.
people.
So they do this like a show, and I guess they turn the room as a group on a regular basis. But if you're not there to get your name on the list at 3 o'clock, you're probably not going to get in during the day. And so
We got there, 3:38, and they were not taking any more
they
names
were already booked.
for the day.
So
Well, she did say that they may open it back up later, but she had no idea when that was going to happen.
yeah, and we knew we had to catch a plane in the morning early, so we were like, oh. But anyway, we had magic bands because we're going later this year to Disney for a week. So we had magic bands, and we were able to use them. This the Magic Band Plus. We were able to use them with our phones to sync up to let them know we were there. And we forgot to mention during the drone show, mine was lighting up all kinds of colors and vibrating, and I was like, "Oh, look, look, look!" And she's like, "I know, look at mine." And it was neat. It was a neat little feature. But we got to thinking, we would really like to figure out how to get over there without having to Uber, because Uber is kind of weird. If you get to the gates in an Uber or Lyft or something like that, they ask you, they go, "Why are you here?" And you can tell them, "Oh, I've got reservations." Well, your name better be on the list for reservations or you're not getting in. What they don't check, though, is the buses.
Well, yeah, and it's free.
And the buses are free. And the buses are for Disney guests. So I thought, we've got the magic bands. Let's just wear the magic bands, hop on the bus like we're going home or back to our resort, and ride over. Because I mean, we're not gonna do anything. We're just gonna ride over and look and see if we can get in Trader Sam's. We didn't get in Trader Sam's, but after that,
That's when we went and got a Dole Whip.
we got a Dole Whip. We split a Dole Whip.
But then we just basically did like a monorail. We actually just walked around the lobby of the Polynesian and looked in the little shops. Got on the monorail, rode over to the Grand Floridian, got off, did the same thing, walked through the lobby. There was actually a guy playing the piano in the main lobby. We walked in the little retail shops there and just browsed, and we were not by any means in any hurry. We took our time. We got on the monorail there, rode over to the Contemporary, and did the same thing. We just browsed around. And then I wanted to ride over to Epcot on the monorail. So we got off at the Ticket and Transportation Center and got on the Epcot monorail and got a window seat. And we sat right there. We rode in the air condition. It was great. I mean, we have not been to Epcot since May of last year. So they've actually finished with a lot of the construction that was up around Spaceship Earth. So we were able to see that. We will get to see that firsthand in December when we go, but it was just something to kill a little bit of time. It was, it was fun. It was fun for me. I don't think by that day, that was a second day in a pair of new flip flops for you. I don't know that it was that fun for you, but
My foot was starting to bother me a little bit.
yeah, I tried to tell you, bring some
But
tennis shoes.
we didn't get to see the Moana part, although we did see all the vegetation that they put in there. It was pretty impressive to see how much better that looked than the open air thing that they had where people were just cooking in the sun.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that in
yeah.
December because we're going early in December, so hopefully the weather will be
definitely
comfortable.
It'll definitely be more comfortable.
It won't be cold. It shouldn't be cold or anything like that.
Yeah.
But that was that was a good afternoon. I mean, we spent the afternoon into the latter part of the afternoon doing that, and then we rode the bus. We actually went back to the monorail, went back to the Polynesian, got on the bus, and went back to Disney Springs.
And as we're driving back, she goes, "What do you want to eat for dinner?" And a couple of times we've been on trips and we've been Disney Springs, and my wife has mentioned to me, "I hear people talk about this chicken guy place, but it's just chicken fingers. I mean, what's the big deal?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's just chicken fingers. What's the big deal?" And this time she's like, "Listen, we got to try this place." And I was like, "Okay." And on the way back on the bus, she was like, I don't know. It's just chicken fingers. Like, listen, we've said that too many times. Let's go eat.
Yes.
Let's just make it a point to eat
I
there.
actually was going to talk myself out of it
You were
again.
trying
I
to.
have talked myself out of chicken guy so many
You were trying to
times.
talk yourself. You're trying to talk me out of it. And I was
Yeah.
like, no, we are doing this because it's on the list and we can't say we eat everywhere if we haven't literally eat everywhere. So we went in there. There was a line. We still waited in line. We got up to the front, ordered our stuff, and we're blown away how good it
Oh my
was.
gosh. If you go to Disney Springs, there are several places that I would say you absolutely need to eat at.
Now, is it chicken tenders? Yeah, technically, but no, it's different. They're big. They're big, like almost like chicken patties. They're so big. They like hit them with a mallet to flatten them out really big, and then they dredge them.
They
They
actually
brine
brine them
them,
in pickle juice,
pickle juice and
and
lemon juice,
I don't know that I remember seeing the lemon juice. Pickle juice, definitely.
and
I thought
then
it was
they
pickle juice and buttermilk,
something like that. There's lemon juice in there somewhere, or
lemon
pepper,
pepper
something.
seasoning.
I don't know. Look it up. So I ordered a sandwich that had two of these on it with lettuce and tomato, and it was huge. I couldn't hardly get my mouth over it. My wife ordered three of these chicken tenders because she was like, I just want a little bit to eat. The three were too much for her.
Oh yeah, I had no idea they were that big.
Going back next time, we'll probably order a 5-pack and we'll probably split a 5-pack. But the showstopper was not only the donkey sauce, which I thought was really fantastic. We
Hold
ordered
on, let me get the correct name of the with the milkshake.
the
The
milkshake
milkshake
was the
was
bomb.
the bomb. I mean, it was all fantastic. Like I say, the chicken is unlike anything you will ever eat.
Listen,
It's so different.
I wanted to be greedy and have my own milkshake after I had that, and I thought, no, 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 no. If we'd have both had a milkshake, we would have been miserable. I'm so
Most
glad we
definitely.
split one, but because it was so decadent.
Okay, we actually had the apple cinnamon cereal milkshake, hand spun vanilla soft serve, cinnamon toast crunch, and applejack cereal topped with fresh whipped cream.
Mm.
And it was incredible.
And you're like, but wait, Josh, how do you drink that through a straw? Oh, they have a special straw with a huge hole in it, so you can get all of that up in there, and it is really good.
Yeah, it was good. It
The
was
place was packed.
The
Holy
place was packed.
cow.
They're actually adding seating on to this
I
location.
was impressed. I was impressed at how packed it was, and also yet how they were actively trying to keep it clean. I mean, the staff was doing their best, but good lord, they were struggling to keep it clean because there was so many people. But they need some more space, and I'm glad they're adding on some
Yeah.
space. But
From what I understand, I mean, this location has been open for several years.
yeah,
And I had listened to podcast after podcast of people talking about Chicken Guy. And I had read reviews and I thought, how can it be any better than Chick-fil-A or Zaxby's?
hmm
How it's just chicken.
it's seasoning.
Oh my gosh. It was great, fantastic.
Yep, yep.
I mean, we all the food we ate there was great because we love Polite Pig, we love Earl of Sandwich, and the bad thing is now we've added another restaurant to Disney Springs. There's no way to eat at all of them that you want to eat at.
And Boathouse was a nice little treat. It's one of those things we could kind of check off a list and
Yeah,
go, okay, we tried it. But yeah, the staples are the ones you can afford easily and get in and out of pretty easily. And
actually, our favorites at Disney Spring are
the
considered
quicker
more
eat places.
are considered quick serve
Yeah,
restaurants.
yeah.
And man, that was incredible.
Yeah, the ones that typically take a reservation and you have to sit and wait and all that stuff. It's nice, but it's so much work that it's like, okay. And then I know that I'm overpaying for everything because it's a nice restaurant. But also, like, it's not something we're going to do all the time. We are going to eat at Earl Sandwich all the time. We are going to eat at Polite Pig, and we are going to eat at Chicken Guy, and all
Yeah,
these
I
other
bet, but
places that are
yeah,
really good all the time, no matter what, in and out.
but I mean, even those places are not cheap because
Right.
at Polite Pig we had one sandwich with a side, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we had and a
Two drinks.
drink. I think I had water,
Oh, a drink and water.
and that was $25.
Yeah.
And then with Chicken Guy, we had two combos and a milkshake. That was $40.
So yeah,
I mean, so you're not talking cheap,
yeah,
quick serve meals, but when they're good,
yeah.
then I mean, and don't get me wrong, we've had some other great meals there. We've eaten Art Smith's Homecoming. That was fantastic. Now we've
Wine
eaten
Bar George.
Wine Bar George. We've eaten
Yeah.
Boathouse. All of those have been
The The other one that's underneath the place,
Enzo's.
Enzo's.
Enzo's
Yeah,
hideaway or hideout. We've never had any bad food at Disney Springs.
yeah,
Man, if I lived there, close there, that would be a place that I would want to go eat on the weekends all the time.
yeah. It'd be hard not to. Oh, and the little Mexican place, the La Cantina or something, La Cochina.
Yeah, we've eat there.
The carne asada. Ooh, that was
Yeah.
good. Yeah,
Yeah, we've had some good meals there.
yeah.
I think
So
Disney for us is not just the parks anymore.
after we
It's a
had
different experience with the food.
after we had chicken guy, we were full. We were tired. We kind of made our way back. We looked through Walt Disney one more time just to make sure
Just
we
to make
didn't
sure we didn't
miss
miss anything.
something. Of course, we had to find something for our grandson
I
and
want to
bring
say
him
we walked
back.
in, we must have went in World of Disney, what, 3 or 4 times?
Yeah, just to look around, just to make sure nothing new is out, whatever. Um,
But yeah, it was a great weekend.
yeah.
We did not have to leave super early to fly back, which was really nice
Mhm.
because we were able to leave around 8:30. I mean, we were able to get up around 7:30, leave the hotel around 8:30 in a lift.
I think our plane took off at 11 or
Yeah,
something like
and
that.
we were back in
Yeah.
Myrtle Beach by 1 o'clock.
We were home by 3, and then it was
Then we walked
into the
into
heat wave.
walked into the 89-degree.
89 degrees in our house.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, thankfully, Phil was in town and he was able to help us get it out of the attic and put it in the window. And it is a two-person kind of thing because it's over 80 pounds, and most of it hangs out of the window, so it does help to have two people. Plus, getting through doorways is tough. And then yeah, able to get that going. Um,
So we
AC
lived
got
in we lived in the bedroom. We lived in the master suite is the bedroom, kind of like the bedroom office,
like we were
bathroom and closet. So
like
we
we were
lived
in
in
college or something,
yeah,
just
we lived
hiding
in
out.
that for the next what? We didn't get the air conditioned parts did not come in
Till
until
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
So Wednesday at 6 o'clock, he was actually here. He was done. We were paying him, and it did take a while Wednesday evening for the house to cool down, but it finally
Yep.
did.
And then Thursday night the toilet breaks.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just been one thing after the other.
So here's a weird thing is, they all say, "Oh, home ownership's the way to go."
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, yeah, yeah, it is. But
But now we also
God,
built this house 17 years ago.
I know, but it's like we've hit the wall of crap that we have to
Yes.
maintain. I mean, with our vehicles, it was, brakes and rotors this year for both of our vehicles. For the house, it's like, okay, now you need new toilets. It's like, what? So
Well, we didn't need a new toilet until someone broke the existing
I
toilet.
wasn't going to mention that part, but
Yeah.
since you brought it up, yeah. So what actually happened?
What
See,
happened was,
see what happened was the toilet between the bowl and the tank has a gasket, and it has two screws that go. Well, the one we had two screws that went through the tank into the bowl to kind of hold it in place, and water started to leak in between there. Now, this is, from what I understand, this is kind of a common thing that happens over time because the bolts themselves, the washers tend to wear out because of all of the chemicals that come through the line. And because they're constantly exposed to water, they get rust on them and they build up a bunch of crud on the top, and water can seep through there. Or also, the little seal that's in between the tank and the bowl can sometimes just deteriorate over time and water comes through there. So
in other words, and it just wore out.
So, in other words, that's the first of no, that's the second toilet that this has happened to. We had it happen in the bathroom behind me. So we've only got two more toilets to go for this to be fixed in, which I'm pretty sure will happen as soon as we blink our eyes. Now that now that this second one is fixed, the other two are going to be like, and now it's my turn.
Well, we already have the sink issue in the half bath.
Yeah,
So let's don't, yeah,
yeah.
let's save that for another day.
I'm thinking about just boarding over that whole
Yeah.
room and being like, that one, we don't use that one anymore. That's a storage closet. Um, we could keep that other air conditioner in there for easier access. That's terrible to say. Anyway, so yeah, I said, okay, I've done this before. All I need to order is this little gasket piece, and I can replace it. And I get the little gasket piece in the mail.
Which came in yesterday.
Saturday,
Came in
yesterday.
yesterday while you were gone.
Yep.
You,
I
you
went
had you had
to
been gone since what, 5 o'clock, 5:30
Yep.
yesterday morning.
Danny and I and some friends went to Uhari to go jeeping through the mountains. And the part arrived on Saturday, and I was thinking to myself, Well, I probably won't get home till late. I'll do this on Sunday. Well,
No.
when we left Uhari, we were like, wow, we're actually leaving kind of early. We did all the trails that we could do, and we're gonna get home at a decent time. The sun's gonna be up, and I was like, my grass needs to be cut. I'd really like to go ahead and get that knocked out since I'm already hot and sweaty. I'll go ahead and cut the grass. Oh, and I know. Then I'll go ahead and fix the toilet too, because that's how my stupid brain works. Is I can't fix one thing, and your brain's like, oh, and I could do that, and I could do that, and I could do that, and I could do that. I wish it would shut up. I wish I could get my brain to stop doing that. But that is the currency in which we live. So came home, cut the grass, came inside, thought, all right, let's tackle this toilet. I know what to do. Drained all the water out, got the bolts undone, got the bowl off the back, and started looking around at the tank and going, okay, I can see where the new gasket goes. Let's pull off the old gasket. Let's clean this. I spent extra time cleaning it. I got out all kind of Clorox wipes and a scrubby pad, and I was scrubbing it. And I was thinking to myself, boy, my wife would be so proud of me. Look at all the extra work I'm doing. And I went inside of the tank and I actually cleaned the inside of the tank so that it looked like it was brand new. I scrubbed it
Yeah, it's
with the
gonna look real
pad and I
pretty at the dump, right?
used all kind of extra Clorox wipes to wipe it out, and it was bone dry and clean. And I was like, man, I'm feeling like I'm doing some stuff today. I'm getting it done. I get the new little thing out and I read the instructions and I'm like, oh yeah, I've done this before. And I put the little gasket on and I get the little screws started on the inside and I'm kind of tightening them down. It says don't over tighten them because you might crack the porcelain. I was like, I'll listen to you. I know what to do. So I'm tightening them and I'm tightening them. And I thought I'm just going to get them hand tight and then I'm going to twist it just a little bit with this wrench. And I did that. And I was like, all right, now we put this part onto the bowl and then we tighten them underneath. And I do that and I'm tightening them. I'm getting the hand tight and I get it to just about where it's at. And I'm like, man, this thing is looking kind of loose because I'm kind of like wiggling it back and forth. And I was like, I know you're supposed to tighten these so they don't move. And the instructions say, don't over tighten. You could crack the porcelain. And I was like, okay, no problem. I'm just going to tighten a little bit. And I thought, let me just turn this thing with a wrench and I'll feel when it's starting to get tight and I'll just stop then. So I'm tightening, I'm tightening. And I was like, anytime now it's going to stop. Anytime it's going to stop.
It did.
Anytime it's gonna, all of a sudden, I was like, no. Yep. The porcelain tank broke. Big old crack from the bottom all the way through. And I was like, no. Like slow motion. No. I could see the comic book words out of my mouth, like bubbling off in the distance. And
I heard the words. They were
yeah,
not just no.
this is a PG
Yeah.
13 time of show.
Yeah.
You've already said your one curse word there, lady.
Yeah.
So
I was not going to repeat what you said.
so I knew this was going to be more expensive immediately, which is sort of
Well, you came through I knew something had happened. But I set myself right there on the couch. I was like, nope, I'm not going over there. I'm just going to stay right here. And so you come out of there and I'm out of the bathroom area and I'm like, what happened? And you said the tank cracked. And of course, in my mind, I'm thinking, holy crap, there's water. I mean, that's just where my head went. So I jumped off of the couch, headed that way. And I actually passed you. You were coming around the corner with your keys and your wallet. And I went in there and looked and seen, okay, water's all gone, drained out, so no big deal. Seen the crack, and I walked back around the corner, and you were just kind of standing there, and you were like, "I'm going to get," I mean, I knew what you were going to do, and this was like 8 o'clock at night, and I said, "No, that's the one. No, you are not going to get a new toilet now. It can just wait till tomorrow. There is no reason for you to go get a toilet now and try to replace it tonight. We have 3 other toilets in this house. We'll be fine." So you actually done as you were told that time. You put the wallet and the keys up. You went and got in the shower and you were
well,
like,
I was pissed off and I
well,
was hot and I was like,
yeah, I know.
I thought to myself, listen to reason.
And then I looked at the price of toilets. Holy guacamole, Batman. I had no idea toilets were so expensive.
Well, you asked me, you said, how do we get this not to happen again? And I said, well, they make one piece systems, but they're a little pricey. And you opened up your Google and all of a sudden you were like, whoa. And I
Yeah.
said, I know, right? So
Anyway,
Here's what happened.
long story short,
We have a really good friend
yeah.
named Danny Shaw who is irreplaceable. If you happen to have a good friend named Danny Shaw, you should hang on to him because he's awesome. Danny is a lifesaver. I called Danny up and I said, "You're going to enjoy this." And he's like, "What happened?" And I told him, he goes, "Been there, done that." I was like, "Yeah, I'm sure you have." But he was like, "Okay." He said, "What do you want to do?" I said, "Well, I'm going to research some toilets." I said, I want to find one that's in stock so I can go and get this taken care of. I said, it is our main bathroom we use because it's in our bedroom. I said, but
But
I'm probably going to need some help to do this. And he's like, "Okay, no
yeah.
problem." He
On a
said,
side note, we didn't realize until last night that toilets are really not something places keep in stock anymore.
"Yeah." So
I guess stock is not a thing anymore.
a lot of stores don't keep things there. They might have one or two brands of something and they just have it for show, but usually it's just a
Did you
showroom of
buy a floor
stuff.
model toilet? Did you buy a floor model toilet?
Did you
No,
did,
actually,
did you see the box?
I did see the box. So they actually had that one. That one was in stock.
They had some toilets. They had a few kinds of toilets. The problem is we need a specific type of toilet. My wife asked me the question. She says, "Do we need a round or an elongated?" And I said, "You need an elongated." She's like, "Why?"
I don't want to go into the discussion of
And I
why.
said, "Well, a round is just what you sound like, round. It's a round hole. It doesn't give you the space that you need with an elongated. So we want elongated. That's what we had before." And
That's
she's like,
perfectly fine.
"Okay."
My only request
Plus,
for a
you
toilet
said
was I
I
don't
need
want
it
to.
short.
Yeah, I don't want to have to run and jump up on it.
Right. Because listen, my wife
Four
she's
foot 11.
5 foot with heels,
I,
5'1" with heels,
yeah, but I don't normally have heels on at home.
especially on the toilet.
Yeah.
But that's a website, I bet. Anyway,
I wanted the standard height, which is what we have
as we're
already.
Googling it, they have terms like chair height and standard. And I was like, aren't chairs standard height? I don't know what that means. We had to do some research. Come to find out, standard is going to be more in the 15-inch range, and chair height is more in the 17 to 19-inch range. They actually have one that's called taller because there is a lot of tall people out there that would rather not bend down that far. And those are between 19 and 21 inches high. And I was like, "Oh, okay. Those are the kind that my feet dangle off of. I can't imagine what you
Yeah,
face
no,
when
I
you're
don't want to have to use a
2 feet
step
off the
stool to
ground.
get to use the
You gotta
toilet.
run and jump. All right, it's gonna sling up here somehow,
No.
you have like a pommel horse on the side. Maybe that's what the handicap arm is for,
I-
so you can like use an arm and put your foot up and be like, "All right, here we go." But anyway, finding a standard height elongated toilet is not as easy as it sounds, even in a town as big as Florence, where we have two Lowe's and a Home Depot.
Where did you actually find it?
Lowe's over here off David McLeod Boulevard.
Oh, okay.
Um, Online it tells you, thank goodness you have the internet, because online it told me they had some available here in Florence. Not a lot, they had some. Um, Home Depot had one that was similar, but it was twice the price. Thankfully, you can like compare prices online and see which is what. Because the night before we were looking for one pieces, Home Depot's one pieces were half the price of the ones that Lowe's had, even though it was the same model.
Oh, well, the
So
one pieces are like
yeah,
starting at $400.
yeah. Meanwhile, Home Depot had the exact same ones for like 229, 249.
The one piece?
Mm-hmm. But this was a two piece. It only used one. I think it says it uses like 1.28 gallons to flush, 1.1 gallons, something like that. It's a smaller tank on the back. It has a new type of technology that flushes. It's very quick to fill up too. I actually timed it. It's like 10 to 15
Well, yeah, the
seconds.
tank's a lot smaller.
Yeah.
Which maybe that'll help with our extremely high water bill.
No,
Yeah.
that's the city of Florence doing that. So thankfully, Danny came over. He needed to go to Lowe's anyway. He's like, "I'll just meet you up there." Team lift. We got in the back of the truck and got home, and I think it took us maybe 2 hours to do the whole thing, to get the old one out and get the new one in.
Well, yeah. I mean, the master bath has a water closet, and
Yeah,
golly, they do not allow you any room to get on either side of that toilet.
yeah.
And I'm sure that it sounded like y'all were tearing the walls down in there whenever I actually stayed away. I stayed away in the kitchen And it sound,
Well,
yeah.
there was times where
I mean, y'all
we
had to be
were
bumping the wall a
we
lot.
were either leaning our head on the wall or leaning an arm on the wall or a shoulder and trying to lift or trying to get around each other because you needed you need two sets of hands in there and there's no space. So yeah, it's one of those things. But again, thankfully Danny was available and he's done this before and I was now that I broke it, I was like, I don't know if I'm feel really super confident about jumping in there. I let him turn the wrenches and use his expertise of doing it in the past, and I'm glad I did because he went the extra mile and like even shimmed the bottom of the floor so that it's completely balanced and perfect. And then he even used the caulking gun to caulk around the edges, and it looks like it's brand new, and it
Yeah,
is brand new.
everybody needs a Danny Shaw.
Everybody needs a
But he
Danny
can't. They
Shaw.
can't have our Danny Shaw.
Listen, you can get your own Danny Shaw, but you
Yeah.
can't have my Danny Shaw
There you
because
go.
old Danny Shaw is the man.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, I got to give him a big old present next time I see him.
He is. It's great to have somebody who knows what to do.
Jeez. Well, not only that, I mean, even if you don't know what to do, maybe you got somebody that's just willing to help you learn. Sometimes that's all you need is just another friend who's like, I don't know, let's figure it out. I mean, because if he wasn't here, that's what I'd have to do anyway. I'd have to just figure it out, and it definitely helps having two people. So yeah, big shout out to Danny. Thank you. Big shout out to Phil. Thank you. Big shout out to Trent Edwards. Thank you. I mean, goodness, we've had some challenges. We've gone through some money, but we've also kind of been really blessed in a lot of ways. I mean, we're okay.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. And then the TV wanted to act up this morning, and I was like, "Oh, please, Lord, please, can you cut us just a tiny bit? I want 1 week, just 1 week with nothing breaking.
So
Just one."
a preview. We think there's something either wrong with the TV or the Fire Stick, and I'm gonna roll the dice and think it's the Fire Stick, and we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see if that's it. Hopefully that's it. Hopefully it's just the Fire Stick. But I mean, we've already mentally prepared ourselves if it's the TV.
I'm like, Lord, please.
Listen, above and beyond all this, I do have the hopes and dreams of one day getting a Jeep. I'm just saying, the idea is out there, along with the idea of, I don't know, we've kind of talked about redoing our closet this winter. I mean, there's a lot of ideas. There's just no money or no
Well, I
time.
mean, I don't know. Somebody else has got plans for the money.
Yeah.
I'm just thankful when I needed to write. Well, you don't write checks anymore. I'm just glad when I needed to Venmo that $750 lightning strike that we had the money to Venmo it.
Yeah.
I'm extremely thankful for that.
Listen, we are blessed in the fact that we make a good living and we are very thankful and we are very aware of the fact that we are blessed and we are. I mean, there's times in our both of our lives where this would have ruined us. I mean, and this is
Or it would have been a struggle.
it would have been tough. I mean,
but yes.
so yeah.
I would just like to hold on to the money. I want to spend it at Disney, not on toilets. not on air conditions and toilets.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like the universe is interacting with my plans here.
Yeah. Well, again, maybe it's God trying to teach us some kind of lesson on patience or something. I don't know.
And
Maybe. So anyway,
sorry, you didn't get to talk about any movie. Well, you hadn't really watched very much TV with everything else that's going on.
I mean, I did catch the end of some stuff, but all that stuff's out online anyway. So just check out everybody else's reviews because they do a much better job.
Yeah,
but
you've been too busy doing instead of sitting and watching TV.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm gonna wrap this up. We're gonna put some video online of our Disney experience at Disney Springs. I just haven't done it yet because
you've been a little busy.
I haven't had time to sit.
And then next weekend, because we have to stay busy. Next weekend we've got the Braves. We got a Braves game next weekend.
We got the Braves. Yeah, next weekend we're going to.
That will be my first professional baseball game. I'm excited.
This will be my first Braves game since I was a kid. I think the last time I went to a Braves game, I might have been 13 or 14. So I have been to an Angels game when I was in the Marine Corps. That was pretty cool, but that's been, God, over 20 years ago. Yeah, almost 30 years ago.
Yeah, we're doing that next Saturday evening with friends. So
I'm looking forward to that to prepare myself mentally. I've been purposely watching a lot of baseball on TV.
So we'll get back with you and let you know.
Yeah.
How that went.
Yeah.
We'll have some video posted. Looking
Yep.
forward to it.
So if anybody out there still listening, thank you. Appreciate it. And sorry we missed last week, but
We made up for it this week.
life. All right.
Repairs, life.
Life repairs, life. Yeah. So anyway, thanks everybody for listening. Please remember to rate, review, subscribe, share this with your friends, and as always, cue the cow.
Cue the cow. Moo, baby.